Hey guys, sorry that video got cut off. Just a couple more things. These are the rounding rules, and then I'm going to do a couple of examples, and then this will be it. So remember, when you are doing addition, subtraction, you are going to round to the least number of decimal places. Then when you multiply or divide, you have to calculate based on the least number of sig figs in those values, okay? So a lot of times you're going to have to round. And we're just going to use general rounding rules. So these are the same rounding rules, you've learned probably your whole life. So you're going to look to the digit to the right of what you're rounding to. If it's less than 5, you round down. If it's greater than 5, you round up, okay? So let's take a look at that. So for example here, we have 3.04999. Now, let's say we need 2 sig figs. So you've done your calculations, you figure out you need 2 sig figs. That means this is going to be the place that we're left with, right? 1, 2. So we're going to have to look to the right in order to figure out how we round, okay? When we look to the right, the 4 is less than 5, so we round down to that 0. So the answer is 3.0. Some students sometimes make the mistake at looking at the whole number, and they'll say, oh, well, this would round to a 5, which then would round this to a 1. No, you don't have to look at any of the other numbers. You just have to look at the one number to the right of where you're rounding to, okay? So if we had a 3.05 and we needed 2 sig figs, this would round to 1, okay? Because 5 or greater rounds up, and then less than 5 rounds down. Okay, and then if you're calculating again, you carry all the digits through and then you wait until the end to round. That's very important. So for example here, we have some multiplication. So we've got 3 sig figs here, we've got 4 here, and then we've got 2 here. Remember, with multiplication, you have to keep all the digits throughout the calculation and then round at the end. So since we have 3, 4, and 2, we're going to go ahead and do the calculation all the way through. But remember, with multiplication, we report to the least number of sig figs, which would be 2. So that would be this right here. We would need to round to this spot. And then we would look to the right, which is an 8. 8 would make this a 1. So 51 would be your answer. Okay, so we don't round and then go through because this will be wrong. And when you guys are doing your classwork, you have to make sure you're doing your calculations correctly and you're rounding correctly in order to get credit. Okay, so let's take a look at a few examples here. So here we have 0.00456. If I were you, I would pause and try to figure out how many sig figs are there and then check and see if you're right. So the answer here would be 3 sig figs, okay? Because remember, leading zeros are not significant even if there is a decimal point. So there's 3 sig figs here. Next up, we have 200. The answer here would be 1 sig fig, okay? Because there's no decimal point, and trailing zeros are not significant if there are not a 0 or if there's not a decimal. So it's going to be 1 sig fig. And then here, last example, we've got 3 sig figs because these trailing zeros are now significant because we've added that decimal place, okay? All right, so that was a lot of rules. Hopefully you've gotten them written down in your notebook. As long as you follow the rules, everything will be okay. But of course, if you're still confused and you want to do some more examples or you have specific questions, please reach out and let me know. And if not, I will catch you guys in our next lesson.